Oh no. Here we are, hump day with maybe Charles should be in charge after that open, me not pressing the right button there. But hump day with yours truly and charming Charles. Charles, how's it going today, my man?
It's going. It's one of those partly cloudy day, but beautiful out there. It's probably going to hit about 70, which would be fine.
Beautiful weather for racing. Well, at Keeneland, the track is fast. The turf is firm, if I remember reading correctly. So some scratches on a card that I would grade about B minus C plus, somewhere in there. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say about a C plus. Actually, it's a little weird.
Mm. Well, hopefully we're not too weird tonight. In fact, doing the handicapping, I felt like Remington Park, we'd be on our game today. That's why it's the free track over there at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There's a link down in the description below in the first race. Triple L's Cutter. And maybe you're not worried. Well, Texas is in the World Series, but they beat Houston. So it was all Texas. Texas was going to be represented. Texas versus Arizona in there. And if you notice, too, before I clicked off to there, you can already pre-order your Breeders' Cup picks for when they become available sometime next week. Of course, there'll be an announcement later today, early tomorrow, about our seminar that we'll be hosting to make sure that everybody is as prepared as possible to tackle those giant money pools, Charles. And that's the appeal as a horse player, is the money pools during things like the Breeders' Cup, the Triple Crown races, the Pegasus, the Travers, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it definitely helps because you can find really good horses at great prices.
Yes, Barry, we will be going over them. There'll be a little bit of information out about that. Again, what we're talking about right now. Good kind of back segue there, Barry, regarding the international horses. That'll be out. Look on our social sites. Horse Race, the number 2 day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I guess it's X now, and some other. Speaking of Breeders' Cup, some of the stuff Sean does over there. It's got true or false. Bob Baffert going to go by D. Wayne Lucas at this Breeders' Cup as the most winningest Breeders' Cup trainer ever. That talk about controversy.
Yeah, you don't want my opinion on that.
All right. Well, I guess we know your opinion on that, right? Well, what I do want your opinion on before, in a minute or two, is the first race at Keeneland. But before we get your opinion, tell us what they're running for.
Okay, this is the first race here at Keeneland. Mile and an eighth, maiden claiming for 40,000. Purse is 48,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward. Pretty simple.
Very basic stuff indeed. So at a mile and an eighth on the dirt course, they've run 5 races at the meet. Early speed has dominated 1 of the 5, went wire to wire. There's an inside 3 penalty, so beware. 4 through 7 play fair, and the best place to be is wearing pink and out from the 8 position. Charles, we do a lot of what we call simulations around here. Helps if I put on the right race. We do simulation odds. We compare it to the morning line odds. Preferably, we get odds that are lower than post time, or higher, than post time odds relative to our sim odds. Par plus, we do some simulations to see how many times in 1,000 races a horse will run a speed figure of par or better for this level. You can see none of the horses have managed to do that so far. Also looking at early speed, which horses have the best chance to be on the lead early on. The higher the number, the better, obviously. In C-zone, based upon our projected early pace, how likely will this trip mirror the best performances for the horses there? Again, the higher, the better. Charles, what do you see in all the numbers?
Well, first, let's start with the speed. Who's going to get the lead at the quarter pole? The 5. The 5's got basically a 31% chance of getting lead. I see that happening. He looks like he's really the speed of the race. There's a couple other horses that might keep him in check, like the 2 with 13%, and possibly the 9. The 9 does have a little bit of speed, so it might be keeping that horse in check. When it comes to simulation odds, it looks like I think it was just the 9, right? Yeah,
a little tiny one on the 5.
Oh, a little bit on the 5. Well, yeah, a little bit. 6-1 and 8-1 morning line. That's okay. Mm-hmm. I'll take that. And then the 9 itself, about 4-5, and it's going off about 2.5-1 morning line. So that's not too bad there.
Mm-hmm. So looking at the odds right now, the 9 horse, the overlay is 9-5. So you're still getting some good value with that. And the 5 horse is now at 7-1. So you're still getting some good value with that. So maybe 5-9 exacta. Anything to do with what I'm doing in there. Race 1, our race shape tells us that, well, really no true front runners, really no horse that wants to sit in the middle or with versatility. The 2 horse is your lone pressure type. What he's going to pressure, we don't know just yet. PCs, none in that group, which are their most versatile horses. All of them, for the except part for the 2, have been closers. The 3 and the 5 so far, they haven't finished within 5 lengths of the winners in their limited race experience. Early speed belongs to the 5 horse, Unwrapped, the one that we spoke about in our simulations, but going to have plenty of company from, 3 other horses in here, so could get pressed a little bit early on. Late speed belongs to the Rockstar Red, that 9 horse. Also had some early pace in there as well. A little bit of a break from everybody else there, Charles. 8 points. So if Rockstar Red is on the heels of the leader coming out of that turn, could be very hard to hold that one off. And does have a pretty significant total pace advantage. If I hit the right button, you see that's 12 points better than the next closest horse. When you get to 10 points or better, pretty good shot that that horse is going to be very competitive for the win. Charles, you have him in your 3rd pick. You got some others in front of him.
Yeah, remember this is a maiden race, so they don't run true to form every time, and I think there's a couple of things happening with the 3 and the 4 that might change. Like the 4, it's dropping in class today, back on dirt, 2nd start after a layoff. You got a hot trainer in the last 14 days, so you got a couple of things for that horse to look at and and you're going to probably have a decent price. Right now it's about 3 to 1, but I was thinking it was going to go off around 5. The 3 horse is my second choice here. This is another one that drops in class, but tries the dirt today. So the trainer gets 40% second time on a route. So a lot of improvement areas. Got this. This horse has the right to improve. And then the 9. This horse, I think, might be the one that's going to push that 5 all the way around. Ran second last time. Trainer gets 23% with 46 plus days of rest. Tries the dirt today. Trainer gets 24% first after a claim. That's what we got here. And then the 5 is my final pick here. Has speed, drops in class, 2nd start after a layoff, and the trainer gets 23% with that angle. But the question is, can he hang on? And I think that's a big question for that horse today.
So Rockstar Red, the 9 horse, gets right now, he's about 9 to 5 still. So according to our simulated odds, still some value there. Our good friend Chris Parmalu says that horses that are in maidens that finish 2nd in the prior start is his best angle. I trust Chris. Chris knows a lot of math, so I got that in there as my top pick. Also coming in from Saratoga, top quality track with nice works prepping for today. Number 5, Unwrapped, is a class dropper. Popped up big in the first race after a break. And the lone other 2nd start after a layoff made a big move forward. So maybe we'll see more endurance in there. Solomon Vandy, the 6 horse, is a pure maiden special weight dropper. Kenneth McPeak, good trainer. He hits at 22% on that angle. Charles, finally, Big Skippy, decently bet in its debut. Also a maiden special weight dropper, and a lot of headroom for that one to move forward in this race. I'm going to go trifecta 5, 6, 9 over to 5, 9 over to 2, 3, 5, 6, and 9. Charles, and you have a swinging for the fences pick 5 to get cracking.
That's right, swinging for the fences right today. My top 3 here in this first leg, second leg top 3, and then top 2 in the last 3 legs.
So I think we're just waiting on one horse for race number 1. And they're off. And they're running. And the 10 horse, Charles, getting out there with a lot of giddy up and go. He really blasted out of there. He wanted that lead badly. So the trainer told the jockey, send the gatekeeper, because it was the gate popper today. On the rail, you have Away From Home, keeping the 10 company as they go through the opening turn. Got 3 wide behind that with the 3 horse, Big Skippy, the 6, Solomon Vandy, and to the outside, I think that is the 5 horse. I mean, the 9 horse. I'm not sure which one that is out there, Charles. Makes me a great race caller. Yes, it is the 9 horse in there. Rockstar Red, the favorite, might have a tough trip needing to go 3 wide all the way around. Fortunately for the 5 horse, the one that we thought would have a good shot to get the lead, not on the lead, could make it a difficult trip for that horse for sure. Coming down the backside, heading into the turn to come home, you have the 2 horse and the 10 horse continuing to lead the way. They ran through the opening quarter in 47.87 seconds. maybe a little bit on the quick side. Charles, down around the turn, they head. The 2-horse continues to have the head out in front of the 10-horse. The favorite right now, probably about 3 or 4 lengths behind. He's working, Charles. I don't know that it doesn't look like he's building enough momentum to get there. It looks like your 4-horse is the one that's running the best here at the end of the race. Question is, can they catch the 2-horse? Because that one has a pretty good lead right now.
He has a really good lead.
He's pulling away from the 10, though the jockey's working him pretty hard. I think the only horse maybe with a chance to catch him is the 4-horse, although there is one behind the 4-horse that's trying to make a move, but he's not going to get it. But look at this, Charles, the 10-horse, the gatekeeper, the bomb early on. The one that sprinted for the lead got a second wind right there, Charles, and it's running off right now. So you're going to go 10, the gatekeeper, and then 2, 4, 2. 10, 4, and 2 in the opener, Charles. What did we miss in the 10, my friend?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, my 4 started way too late.
Let's look at this 10-horse. What did we miss on the 10? Well, he did come out and run a good race there. There's your Chris Parmalu angle. The horse had been off for more than a year. He didn't really come back like with a big number in there at all, like 72 versus 72. So there was room for improvement right there. Also, you got to figure Wesley Ward, pretty solid trainer that they claimed that horse off of. So it was a quality horse. And in the other races, the horse really didn't try to pop for the lead. Its best effort really early on did come last out when they tried to hop to the lead again there. So maybe we just missed that one, Charles. What do you think? Swung?
Yeah, plus it was going up in class. So it was one of those. It's the way it is. I mean, it was a maiden race, so
as you said. So maybe, just sometimes horse racing beats you, right?
That's right.
And when a long shot gets to the front and stays at the front, got to wonder if maybe today the track is going to continue to have a dominating speed bias. What's going on in race number 2?
All right, race number 2. We got a mile and 16th allowance of 16,000, purse 51,000. This is for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and upward, which have never started for a claiming price of 16,000 or less in the year 2022 and 23.
As the profile of a winner at a mile and a 16th, you're looking for stalkers. 13% of the time, and this is probably the most common distance they ran so far at the Keeneland meet. 13% of the time, they've gone wire to wire. There's a very strong rail bonus for the 1-horse, Candy Island. Can he take advantage of that? We'll find out. 2 and 3, those positions play fair. 4 through 7 get penalized. 8 and out, you get a little bit of a bonus. Charles, so some stalkers, maybe on the inside or the outside. It sure looks like Candy Island's the one they're going to have.
Well, Candy Island does have the speed, but always has a tendency to stop. But 51% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. I really do believe that's going to be true. I think the 7 has got a shot there too, also to a 24% chance. If something happens to the 1 stumbling out of the gate or anything like that, the 7 will take over and have that lead. Simulation odds, we got the 5 at just slightly over 2 to 1. We have 5 to 1 morning line. We have the 7 at just slightly over even money. We have 3 to 1 morning line. And that's what we got for the odds.
Par plus, look at this one, Charles. Par plus, 45% chance that Dre May Less runs a speed figure above par for this level. The only other horse that that's proven it can do that so far is Choctaw Bingo. That's the other overlay in there, not surprising. A lot of dark green in here, Charles, meaning this should be a race setup that everybody's pretty comfortable with. So positioning could make a big difference here. This race is kind of slanted middle back, so maybe a little advantage towards early speed. We saw early speed do well there in the opener, Charles, in a route run. So far, the early speed, it looks like belongs to the 1, Candy Island, that we talked about. But look at all this company in here, Charles. It's going to get pressed for sure. And you did mention that sometimes that horse, when it gets pressed, fades. You see that right here with its late pace. So if you're looking for one that's going to be up front with some late pace, Choctaw Bingo, right behind Kitten Calls. Those 2 grade out as some of your best horses for top total pace. But look at that 5-horse, Charles, 10 points better than the next closest horse. Choctaw Bingo should have every chance to win this race, Charles. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, this horse has got that tactical speed, as your chart even shown, that it could sit close in the beginning and has a decent enough kick. Trainer gets 23% drop after a drop after a claim. Plus, he gets 17% first after the claim. So Luis Saez is aboard, so why not? Let's look at that horse. The 7, like I said, I think this horse has got some speed. He might even find himself on the front end. One last time out, Norm Casey gets 22% with 46 plus days of rest. You know my feelings about Norm Casey. I think he's going to be an excellent upcoming trainer. And the 8 is my third choice. One last time out, trainer gets 24% first after the claim. This one will be closing. So we saw how good that 4 did close. It just started way too late in that last race. The 4 is my final horse here. A little bit of a price. Tactical speed, ran second last time out. Trainer gets 17% with shippers. The jockey gets 17%, which is Alex, which he gets. He does really well with the mounts he gets. So I think that horse has at least a shot at some of the minors stuff. So that's what we got.
Yeah, and he's got a high C-zone in there too, so good chance. Charles, we usually isolate a pick for the day. Right here, our guy Tafin wants to know who is your pick of the day. Let us know what race, Charles, that is, so Tafin can
Race
write
6.
that down. Race 6. I singled the 5 here in my pick 5, so it's one of my favorite horses on the day, the 5 horse in there. Choctaw Bingo. I think the horse is going to get the perfect trip. He's going to stalk the leaders, which has been the way to win here right now. Total pace horse, 10 points better than everybody else in there. Pretty good chance to run a speed figure above par. And as you mentioned, Charles, Michael Maker, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but he's taking this horse and dropping him off the claim. I'm not so concerned about that because the purse money is so high. The horse gets, it's an allowance race. So they can't take him away anyway. So 23% on the claim and drop. My Good Fortune, the 8 horse, better early in its last race in terms of its early race ability. Second up, a 50-50 record for the horse overall. But Chris Hartman, the trainer, another younger name or one that's probably less high profile than some of the others. 24% of the time, he wins first time out after a claim. That's a good number, Charles. Number 7, Dre Miles is the lone EP type horse in this field with enough early speed to be on the lead. And 2 of its 3 wins, Charles, have come when it was on the lead, went wire to wire, and the other was pressing the lead. So definitely will be in that winning position today. Finally, number 1, Candy Island. I'm going to take a little bit of flyer here, Charles. That horse did run the top last race speed figure. 4 points clear of the next closest horse. Again, the cutoff is 3. Anything 3 and above, you got to really focus on. And it did run a lot faster fractions last time out. So maybe a horse going to find some temporary form, run a big race, a couple of them in a row, and then go back to its prior form. Pick 4 for me, as I said, I'm going to single the 5, and I'm going my top 4 picks the rest of the way, Charles. And surprisingly, going 1 by 4 by 4 by 4 only cost $32. I expected it to be more than that.
Yeah, when you do pick 4s, it's good.
If you can, it's a hot dog-ish pick 4, maybe with a little bit of extra condiments.
Got an extra mustard on it.
Yeah, some onions and some celery salt, that sort of stuff. All right, race number 3. What do we got there?
Okay, well, back to the maidens again. Mile and the 16th maiden claiming of 150,000. So just open up your wallet and we'll get one.
Yes, we can do this with your pocket money, Charles.
Yeah, this is my chump change here. This is for fillies, 2-year-olds.
It's one roll of the dice for Charles, $1.50. Just the decimals, a lot more places to the left.
That's right.
All right, in race number 3, Mr. Charles, what we're looking again is at a mile and a 16th. We just talked about the profile there. Favor stalkers, pretty strong rail bias in there for the 1 horse. Money works. Money does indeed work. 2 and 3 play fair. 4 and 7 get penalized. 8 and out, you get a little bit of a bonus, Charles. So again, maybe you don't want to be on the lead, but close to the lead. It looks like with the 4 horse scratching, some others now turn into standouts up front.
Yeah, you got the 7. It looks like it's going to have the lead at 32% chance at the quarter pole. I don't know about that one. It seems like he's more of a closer to me than he is a front runner. So I really think the 6 is going to be the one probably most likely going out to the front. But Anyway, he does have the speed to do it if he had to do it. Simulation odds, we have, excuse me, the 7 itself, just slightly under even money. We have 6-1 morning line. There's a nice overlay, and I'll take that all day long. And that's what we got. That's it.
Indeed, that's what we got. Our race shape for race number 3 tells us that nobody so far has really been a pace setter, Charles. That's probably why the 7 in this group with the simulations moves over that way, a left arrow horse, as we've talked about before. The 6, the 7, and the 10 in their limited experience, as you pointed out, Charles, do want to come from off the pace. I do think a couple of them will move forward today. 2, 5, 9, and 11, those 4 have not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line when they've run so far. The 1 and the 3, those can throw in money works, and Mother Freedom could throw in monkey wrenches into the plans of others. Early speed belongs to the 6 horse, the one you thought would get the lead, Charles, but the 7 should be tucked in right behind there. Might be exactly where that horse wants to be. Late speed does belong to When I Look at You, the 7 horse in there, Charles. Pretty good number in there. 6-point gap between the next closest horses. So it does look like the 6 and the 7, they grade out by far as your top total pace horses in there, Mr. Charles. Minus the 1 and the 3, the race could come down to those 2.
It could, but there's still a couple of horses in here. I like that too a little bit. This horse drops in class. The trainer gets 28%, going from straight maiden to maiden claiming. You got it ran 3rd last time out. Hot jockey and trainer combo the last 14 days. So I think this horse has a shot to improve here. The 1 itself, the rail gets 21%. The dam has 5 winners from 5 starters. One of them's a stakes horse. What more can you ask from Mama? Mm-hmm. And then hot jockey trainer combo in the last 14 days, solid works. And then the 7 is my 3rd choice. Ran 2nd last time out, drops in class today. I personally believe this horse will be closing, could be sitting 2nd or 3rd. And of course, you got the McPeak and Hernandez combination, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And then the 11 is my final pick. Tries the dirt today, does add the blinkers. Probably they're trying to get this horse more focused. Brown gets 40%, 2nd time on the route, plus he puts on Tyler.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to do a trifecta box with all your 4 horses?
Try box on these 4 horses, so that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to go with the 7 horse in there, Charles, as my pick to click here. When I Look at You, down in class after missing just this much in its debut. That's a nice bullet workout between races, and if it improves at all off its debut, could make easy work of this field, Charles. As you mentioned, the 11 horse, business as usual, is business as usual for Chad Brown, maybe a little bit more business than usual. As much as that guy wins, Charles, 40% of the time he wins in his 2nd career race. I mean, that's crazy. But those horses should be like, what, 40%? Like 6-5, something along those lines?
Yeah.
And in the debut, it had a really wide trip. So, yeah, get some little better inside trip today, save some ground against some of these in here. And since that debut, 4 really good workouts. There's no question it'll be ready to run. Number 1, Money Works, is a first-time starter. Charles, you did mention it has some decent workouts in there. And that Mama makes some winners. 5 for 5. Nora Casey, 11%. That's the minimum we're looking for the first-time starters. So checking off those 3 boxes, check, check, check. Number 2, the one you put up on top there, Charles, Nora Skit, No Biscuit, whatever that means. Going to drop from that maiden special weight into this maiden claiming 150, so not that big of a drop. 28% move for trainer Thomas Amos. And the most recent workouts are the best so far of its young career. So I'm wondering if this is going to be one of those horses where the light comes on today, Charles. 1, 7, 11, the 7, 11 with the 1, 2, 7, 8, 11. That's my trifecta in race number 3. How about race number 4 in this 8-race card? Charles, they're going to go to the grass.
Yep. 5.5 furlongs on the turf. Allowance of 110,000. Non-winners of 1. Purse, 110,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won a race other than maiden, claiming, or starter, or which have never won 2 races.
So 5.5 furlongs on the turf, as you'd expect. Speed is a part in there, but tactical speed is probably best. Maybe sit second, third, fourth, somewhere in that mix. Although 27% of the time, the horses that got to the lead ran straight into the winner's circle. The rail has been fair. 2 and 3 get a bonus. 4 through 7 get a small bonus. And so far, 8 and out have been absolutely whacked, Charles. So outside posts have stunk, and yet we're probably both going to go a little bit on the outside here with our picks because we're just brilliant anti-bias handicappers.
Yeah, we are kind of anti. Well, especially me.
Yeah.
The 10, yeah, for me, I think is going to be one of them that's really going to be up there in front. But we have the 8 at 22% of having that lead. It's between him and probably the 10, most likely going to the lead, possibly the 12. So those 3 are going to be your real speed. Whoever breaks it, in my opinion, is going to be out in front. And
the good news for those outside horses that are fast is it does look like the ones inside of them aren't.
Yes, it kind of does look like that. Simulation odds, we have, let me see, do we have anything? Oh, yeah, we have the 8 at slightly under 6-1. We have 20-1 morning line. So there's a nice overlay, especially with that speed. And then the 10, basically just a little bit at 2-1 and 2.5-1 morning line. The 12, 3-1, and we got 4.5-1 morning line. So all the ones with the speed, it seems like they have the odds too, the overlays.
Yeah, look at this 5 horse though, Charles. I mean, 8 horse, excuse me. Good chance to be forwardly placed in the stalker position if it chooses. Tied for the top C-zone score in there, and a 24% chance that it can run a speed figure above par in there. Big overlay. Neither one of us have the 8 in our picks. We might be scratching our heads when the race is over as why don't we have the 8 in our picks?
Yeah, well, eventually you can't bet them all, I guess. But, I mean, that horse just has tons of speed, but it's only ran on turf once. Of course, it was at a mile, so you really couldn't get a good read. So,
we'll find out.
We're going to find out. Well, its breeding says turf out of not this time. So,
well, we hope not this time. I'm looking at the race shape in here, Charles. It does look like it's slanted towards the middle back. Only the 5 horse in here, Tom Barber, being a front runner type in there, Charles. Everybody else wants to be middle back. So this is pretty interesting. The 8 and the 10 PC types, they both have a little. There is that 8 horse popping in there again, Charles, at that long price. Eli's Magic. Early speed, if it does win, they're going to be up on the lead as we talked about. The 10, the 3, the 14, the 12. I mean, just kind of staggering down. They're going to come out boom, 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 and they'll all be kind of pushing for the front there. So should set this race up nicely for a horse that's sitting 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in that mix. So if you're looking for the late speed too, Arabian Prince, that one's going to definitely have to close because it'll be way off the front. The 12 horse, Charles, looks like it'll be set real nice in that stalking position, along with the 10 horse. 6 horse also has some late kick. Total pace belongs to the 12 first defender and Donegal Mischief. 6 points better than the 14 or the 8. There's that 8 horse again, Charles. Got a feeling that 8 horse is going to factor into this race. Maybe we should change our picks and put it in there somewhere. What do you? I am going to change mine, Charles.
You're going to change yours? Go ahead.
Just a little bit on the bet.
Yeah,
I'm going to take out the. I'm going to take out the 7.
You're taking out the 7?
Yeah, and I'm going to put in the 8 is the end in the back of my.
Well, thank you for guaranteeing the 7. All right, well that's great. Now you really screwed it all up. Thank you. But I'm going to
just guarantee the 7's going to win. That's all.
Yeah, you just did. That's all you did. I like the 10 here. This horse won big last time. Well bet. Cox gets 23% with 46 plus days of rest. This horse has speed to steal it, so he doesn't have to be out in front. He could sit there 2nd or 3rd. So I think he's the one to beat, period. The 5 won last time also. This one has a little bit more tactical speed. And Riley Mott, like I told you before, I think he's an upcoming trainer that's going to do very, very well. He's doing 12% right now. I think he's much better than that. But this horse has that tactical speed to do whatever kind of damage he wants. Then the 12 is my 3rd choice. Like we said, has the speed to go out in front if he has to, or he can sit 2nd or 3rd. Ran third last time, cuts back in distance today. Bred for the turf, so look out for that horse. And then my final pick is that 2 is my price horse. Ran third last time out, third start after a layoff, does have some tactical speed as mainly at the closing part of it, so might pick up some of the minor awards.
I'm going to go with the 10 horse too, Charles. So no way in the world the horse is going to be 5-2. Probably 2-1 will be generous as well, because everybody's going to probably see the same thing, except for people who maybe stay away from that 8+ whacked. Because it's going to be right on the 8 post, the 10 with that. But anyway, in its debut, it just made absolutely funny work of all the horse. I mean, the other horses probably wondered, why are we in this race? Because they got what they beat, like 19 legs or something stupid, Secretariat like. It did have some nice workouts in between races. I think it's maybe one of those horses, because I think he debuted him at Indiana or something like that, some second-tier track. And the horse just smoked everybody, and he's probably like, what was I doing debuting here? This horse is much better than I thought. Maybe it's just one of those horses that kind of, when the lights come on, so to speak, it shows its best, and in practice just wants to goof around like Allen Iverson. Practice? Number 6. Practice? We talking about practice? Number 6, Chiringo. Been showing a lot more late enthusiasm in its last 4 races. And now it has a trio of exceptional workouts since its last start. So if it can put a little bit of early pop into those late legs, watch out for Chiringo. Number 12, First Defender. This guy's been off since March. That's quite a few months. The works are okay, but there is no question that the back class is amongst the tops in the field. And the only other time the horse had like a first start off a layoff was its debut. I mean, that's the longest layoff of its career in some cases. It just absolutely crushed the field. So I think if it's a first up horse, you could see a big effort here. Finally, number 14, Western Command. At first was a really tough call for me over to 7. Not so much anymore, because I kicked the 7 aside for the 8 horse in here. Charles did tie for the top last race speed figure in dropping in class in your favorite handicapping angle. Surprised he's not in your picks. The third start after a layoff. Trifecta, 6, 10, 12, over to 6, 10, over to 6. Newly inserted 8 horse with the 10, 12, and 14.
You just moved up that 7 so much. You moved that horse up. That horse is going to win or come in second. You just moved.
He's going to win, Christopher. You can just write it off, Christopher. The 4 horse, all of our picks, the 7's going to win after that. But in any case, he likes the 4 to win. With the 3, 4, and 8 in the exacta trifecta box. And unfortunately for Chris and for our good friend Terry, who's off today, no coffee, because the 10 horse, which I forget, I think it was Martin who brought it up, but that 10 horse that was brought up in our show when we went through and looked at it. And of course, whenever you go on, you're like, whatever reason, the horse, I think it was like 1 for 28 at Parks, Charles. So we kind of discount him a little bit. Of course, that's the one that went and paid $45. So hopefully you put a couple of dollars on that one off of Mr. I think it was Mr. Torres's idea. So see if we have some 45 to 1 shots in there today. I don't know if we will or we won't. Maybe we will, Charles. Race number 5. What do you got cooking here? This one's a bunch of first timers and stuff, right?
Well, here's the best part about it. It's about 7 furlongs.
Yeah.
And it does the same exact route as 7 furlongs. This is for maiden. Purse is $100,000. This is for fillies, 2-year-olds.
Yeah, too many first-time starters and other horses with just 1 race in there to really get any kind of feel of what the data says. So we couldn't do the simulations or any of that other good stuff. We can do, Charles, in race number 5, the absolute, no, it's not. It's part of the middle card. Just get to our picks.
Yeah, I'm going with the 7 here. Ran even last time out. A well bet. In my personal opinion, there's a jockey upgrade today. This horse does have some speed. So I think this is the horse to beat in this race. But that's not saying much, because you don't have much to go off of on a lot of the other horses. The 3 horse is my second choice. Cox gets 20% with first-time starters. This horse is bred for this. You got a nice solid workout pattern for this horse, so why not? And then the 4 is my third choice. This one will be closing. Trainer gets 23% with shippers and 22% on their second race. So a lot of good angles, a lot of room for improvement for the 4. And then the 5 is my final pick here. Ran even last time, bred to be a good one. Hernandez stays on this horse. It's a maiden. It's wide open a little bit, but that's why I did go with my top 4 picks and my pick 4, here. And then I got my single, and then I'm going top 5 picks in my third leg, and a top 5 picks in the fourth and final.
Oh man, you should maybe just put all that money to win on the 5 there, Charles. Because if any of them
Probably
lose
should.
along the way, yeah.
No, but because I got some long shots in the last 2 legs.
Yeah, I got some shots in mine too. Starting right away, I got the 7 horse as the winner here too. Charles is my top choice in here. Snow Dance, top last race, speed figure, and the only one that's hit par for this level for the experienced horses. Number 14, Circling, got off to a slow start, had to run wide in its debut. So I think looking for improvement here today in round number 2. Regulatory Risk, the 8 horse, my next choice in here, Charles. Was a pretty weak favorite in its debut. I think it was like 7-2, somewhere along those lines. Going to make its second start today for trainer Chad Brown, who hits at 25% with second starts and also 29% when he takes a favorite back after getting beaten. Finally, the 3 horse Tarifa, Brad Cox, good trainer. Godolphin, probably one of the best breeder/ownership groups in the world. I think you'd agree with that, Charles.
Yeah.
Has some excellent workouts getting ready and some decent breeding to boot. My pick 4 top picks. I was going to single the 5, but threw one in there just in case with the 6 horse, 3-6 with 4 horses, and then 2 on the back end. Because I feel like the last race is, I really feel like there's 1 horse that's going to be a big standout there. And if it doesn't win, then it becomes any other horse can win. Race number 6, Charles, as we got 3 to go. It's another turf race here.
Yeah, this is the mile and 16th on the turf. Allowance of 110,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime. Purse is 110,000. This is for fillies, 2-year-olds and upward, which have never won 2 races.
So our friend right here, Christopher D'Souza, back a race, agrees with you on that 4 horse, and he likes it with the 3 in an exacta box, so keeping it limited there in what is a wide open race. A mile and a 16th on the grass. Charles does favor horses in the 8 races so far. Closers, baby. You better have some late legs. Not one of them so far in the 8 races has been able to get to the front and finish the job on the lead. None of the horses that had a post position 1, 2, or 3 in the 8 races have come to win yet. Big bonus 4 through 7. That's where all the action has been. And again, a discount from 8 and out. So it looks like you want closers, Charles, in race number 6 that are going to be running. And so far, every single one of them has run a par figure that would be better than the win here. So they all have a good shot. But as far as the early lead is concerned, what are you looking
at? Most likely the 5 is now going to inherit the lead because of the 3 being scratched. And this is why this horse is now my best bet of the day. It's inherited the lead. Now it's going to cruise. I think it's just going to go wire to wire here. Assimilation odds here, we have, well, the 5 again, a little bit even money, about even, 1.5 to 1 on the morning line. And then the 10, we have slightly under 3 to 1, and we have 15 to 1 on the morning line with the 10.
Looking at this right there, Charles, really not a whole lot to jump off of here. Maybe you got this big overlay there, the strong C zone, another strong C zone with the Kamikaze. Yumagi, that one could maybe another strong C zone with the 1. Wide open affair for sure. What does the pace shape tell us? 4 and 5 want to be towards the front. They want to pressure a leader, and really not a stone cold leader in there. Those 2 of them are probably going to be on the front. So one of them likely to be uncomfortable with the leadership role in there. Maybe they'll both be reluctant. You'll get some pretty moderate fractions. Closers, everybody else, Charles, I mean, this should favor a horse that gets forwardly placed. I know we talked about it belonging to closers, but maybe a closer can get out to the front, run some really slowish fractions, and still have enough energy to close the deal. Early speed does belong to the 4 and 5. They'll be out from the front, Charles. Late speed belongs to the 6, Ask Amanda, along with Yada and Mo Sense. There's that long shot in there, Charles, showing up as a horse that has enough speed at the end to perhaps factor. Ask Amanda, the 6 horse in there, top total pace, but look at all these horses in there, Charles, within 4 points of each other. So the 4, the 5, the 6, and the 9 could make for a nice exacta trifecta box.
Yeah, I almost have that, except for I have the 10 in there. But I like the 1 a lot here, but it looks like they're about ready to enter the gate. Should we go through mine or not?
We can do race number 2. Let me just pop over to that screen real quick, Charles, so I can see what's going on in race number 2. All right, let's go back to race number 2, and then we'll come back to our picks for race number 6. Let's see, race number 2 right now. The 5 horse, Charles. My single is the one that's inherited from 5-1 morning line. The favorite status. Then after that, it looks like the 10 horse at 7-2. The 8 is 4-1. The 5 horse, 7 horse is 5-1. And everybody else looks like the 1 horse is 9-2. That one's in there too in the mix. So right now you kind of have a lukewarm favorite. The 5 horse just kind of upticked to 5-2. That's our top pick, which is exactly what the simulation odds said that horse should be, around 5-2. The gates open and away they go. According to our early speed figures, we expected the 7 horse to be, man, they're just really running a lot across the track right there, Charles. So somebody's going to get a pretty ugly trip. Who's that going to be?
Jeez.
That's going to be the 5 horse, fortunately for the jockey, did let them other horses go out and save ground and put into the only 2 wide. So you got the 1 horse up on the lead right there. We said the 1 horse would be on the lead, 51% chance. The 4 horse making that guy stay honest as they go through the opening quarter in 23.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit on the fast side, Charles, I would suspect. No?
Maybe a little bit fast.
The 4 horse has emerged as the front runner right now. Perhaps the jockey on the 1 horse right there figured they're going a little too quick for his liking. The 5 horse has now moved into second position as they almost ran the second half mile in 49 seconds. You got the 4 on the lead, the 5 right behind, the 1 tugging along at the rail at a price there, Charles, of 3-1. A bunch of horses coming through the turn there, trying to make way. The 4 horse continues to run on the lead. The 5 horse steadily making up some ground there. None of them have really asked to run yet. It looks to me like it's going to come down to the 5 horse or the 4 horse. And you got a couple of horses on the back there. Who's that trying to make a move wide? Is that the
8?
Is that the 10 horse? The 8 horse?
8.
8 horse. Yes, my second pick, of course. The 5 horse kind of drifting out. The 10 horse is laying there. This looks like it's going to be, the 8 horse is.
Wow, it's a cavalry charge.
Yeah, here comes the 8 horse off the pace. 10 horse trying to corral that one. The 8 horse is going to be your winner, Charles. It's going to go 8, 10, 1, and 4. I should have spent a little bit more money, Charles. The second pick in there. Yeah. What are you going to do? I felt like the 5 was the one that bit there. And that 8 horse went from morning line 5-2. Its odds drifted up to 5-1. So he did get a little bit of an overlay on that horse right there. Pretty strong C-zone. Did come in strongly at the end there. Let's take a quick look at what we saw over here.
Well, they slowed down pretty good, too.
He was in the mix right there, too. Did have that late legs, but it looked like the 9 horse had a little bit more late legs, although, it is in the top 4. They're competitive.
And
had a good chance.
The 9, when they broke out of the gate, the 9 went about 8 wide throughout the turn, and there was no one there to make him go that one, to go out wide.
So he's not in shape.
Yeah.
No, that was a sign of a horse that's out of shape. Race number 6, Charles, we haven't done our picks yet, but Christopher D'Souza has done his. He says the 1 horse to win, place, and show with the 2 and 4 in an exacta trifecta box. Neither one of us has the 1 horse, but boy, that 1 horse has a strong C-zone. What do you got?
I love the 5 here. This horse drops in class. You got a hot trainer and jockey combo last 14 days. The horse has tactical speed. Tyler Gaffleone is aboard. Last time this horse ran in a grade 2, was over its head there, but was bet it was 5-1 in that race. So, there was a full field in that race too. So, they like the horse. The horse has talent. So, drops in class here today. Makers put him in the right spot. I think this horse, like I said, is going to inherit the lead, and I think it's goodbye. The 9 is my second choice. Ran 3rd last time. Drops in class today. hot jockey trainer combo in the last 14 days. This one will be closing. You do have Pratt aboard the 9, so it makes it interesting. The 6 is my third choice. One last time out. Grand Motion gets 21% with first time in the route, and he also gets 18% with first time on turf. This horse is bred to go longer, so why not? I agree with Grand Motion on this one. The 10 is my final choice, my price horse. Second start after a layoff. Trainer gets 33% with second time on the turf. Adds the blinkers today. And this one should be closing, but probably will be sitting much closer due to the blinkers.
I like the 6 horse in here, Charles. A little bit of an upset, perhaps, with the 6 horse. That is Ask Amanda. Coming off the maiden win. Didn't run the top last race speed figure, only a couple points behind. And a lot of times, the biggest jump for a horse in its career is in career start number 2. Number 5, Smooth Waves. This horse is steadily improving, Charles, dropping from a grade 2. And it did run a little bit better fractions in that grade 2 effort. Number 9, Yada. Horse is getting better from race to race to race. This horse has shown some early ability and shown some late pace ability, but hasn't connected A to B yet. When she does, this horse definitely is non-graded stakes caliber. Number 2, Dozen Diamonds was a tough call for me. Over to 10 horse in there like you, Charles, but this one's been on the sidelines since late August. I think August the 31st was the last time it ran. It does have some really strong Keeneland works getting prepped for today. I'm going to go 5, 6 over to 5, 6, 9, over to 2, 5, 6, 9, and 10 for a trifecta in race number 6. 2 to go, Charles. That means the 7th race is the beginning of the late daily double. What are they running for here?
Okay, 7th race.
But exactly 7 furlongs in this.
This one's exactly 7 furlongs. Optional claiming of 80,000, non-winners of 2. Purse is 120,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 18,000 twice, other than maiden, claiming, starter, or state bred allowance, which have never won 3 races, or optional claiming 80,000.
So Mr. J. Justice will be coming out with our hot picks for the Breeders' Cup. We're going to do something the night before. So keep an eye on our social sites. Horse Race the number 2 day, Horse Race the number 2 day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook's giving us a little problems today. I got to keep calling it to X. It's on X now. Elon just wants to get rid of it. He should have just called it Elon instead of Twitter, right? What do you, I mean, Elon's a kind of could be a name of a brand, right? It's an uncommon first name. And I mean, he is the face of the empire now. So that's when we're going to be doing that. Thanks for asking, and thanks for the nice words about the picks. All right, Charles, race number 7 at exactly 7 furlongs, my friend. Early speed is 1, but none have gone wire to wire. There is a rail bonus for Vittorio, if you say that the proper way. 2 and 3 get discounted at best, a bit. 4 through 7, by far the best so far. And so far, nobody that's worn an 8 or higher has managed to collect the big check, Charles. So we're looking for some inside speed in race number 7. But it looks like the majority of it is on the outside. The Buffalo Girls are going to run around the outside.
Yeah, we got the 11 around a 42% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. Probably most likely that'd be true. But you got that 13 with a little speed. And I have a say in that 26% chance of having getting the lead. I think those two are going to be out there winging it. And there's a couple other horses in here that do have some speed. So look out. Simulation odds, we have the 1 at just slightly under 4 to 1, and we've got 6 to 1 morning line. Nice overlay, if you ask me. And the 5, you got just under 5 to 1, and you got a morning line of 6 to 1 morning line. And then we have the 8 at 7 to 1 and 12 to 1 morning line. There's a nice little overlay also. And then the 12 at 6 to 1, basically, and the morning line is 12 to 1.
Yeah, you have a few horses here, the 1, the 5, the 8, and the 12, with a good chance to run a speed figure above par, which is the average winning speed figure for the horses under these conditions. And C-Zone, plenty of the fast ones out here, Charles, are going to be pretty comfortable being out in the front. So they got a pretty good chance to run a race that matches some of their best performances to date. Our pace handicapping sheet tells us for race number 7 that it's an absolutely perfectly balanced race in there, Charles. Look at that. Symmetry, my friend, from top from left to right. So that just basically comes down to trip, right? You want your horse to get a good trip. If you want your horse to be on the front, then you're looking at the 11. You're looking at all these horses right here, Charles. The 1, the 5, the 13, and the 11. Of those, it looks like the 1 is the least lead dependent. The others, if they don't get the lead, could become discouraged. If you're looking for closers in here, Charles, then you're looking at that 12 horse, which is a PC horse. So, and that 100 figure, anytime you see triple digits, that's stakes caliber stuff, folks. These are borderline that with the 3 and the 6. I'd probably prefer the 12 over those a little bit because it's a little more versatility. It doesn't have to be anywhere on the track specifically. And then your total pace goes to the 3 horse, the closer, Charles. Nighttime, but you got what, 4 horses within a point or 2 of each other. Yeah. Looks like a really competitive horse race with about 4 of them that have a slight edge over the rest of the field. Which ones do you like?
Well, here's one of those races. I said they're possibly going to be a long shot. I'm going to start with the 7. I think we're going to get around 8 to 10 to 1. This is the first time gelding ran second last time out. The trainer gets 23%, 90 plus days of rest. You got tactical speed, cuts back in distance today. So look out for that one. The 1 in this race, I think you're going to get about 6 to 1. Ran second last 2 times. The blinkers do come off, and Mott gets 24% with that angle. This one has that tactical speed. I think this horse could wake up here with the blinkers off today. So look out for the 1. The 5 is my third choice. Another one that's around 6 to 1. I think this one might go up a little bit, maybe to like 7 or 8. Ran third last time out, second start after a layoff. Well bet last time. You got a hot trainer last 14 days with that horse. And then finally, I mean, look, I've been saying all these 6 to 1s, and now I'm giving you a price horse here, a 12 to 1. Ran even last time out, drops in class today, second start after a layoff, and the trainer gets 16%. This horse has some tactical speed. There is one horse I did leave off there that I did put in my pick 4 is that 10. I think that 10 does have a shot, but I'm going with all these price horses that have just as good a shot, if not better.
Well, I'm going to go at the 10 horse as my top pick, Charles, in there. But I think we have the same, some of the same picks, maybe a little, all of them pretty much the same, a little bit different order, maybe one horse in there. But I also have the 1 horse up next in my picks. Could be a mistake on my part because Christopher D'Souza says the pick of the day is Vittorio at the 1 horse with the 11 and the 8 in his exact and trifecta box. I got some prices too, Charles, but up top with the 10, been off for more than a year, does have some strong back class. And if he's ready to fire, Charles, I mean, he could easily win this race. Number 12, Condemn. This one was off for more than a year, came back and ran right where he left off. So there wasn't like a big spike coming out where you can think there comes some big regression. And then in its limited career, the second race after a layoff was better than the first race. So 12 to 1 morning line, Charles. Number 3, Nighttime. Bomb City at 20 to 1, Charles. Tyler Gaffleone, okay, one of the top jockeys at Keeneland. Going to ride a 20 to 1 horse, Charles? What does that tell you?
I know. It's telling me Breeders' Cup time there.
William Morey, good trainer, wins at 29% of the time, Charles, when a horse is making the second start for him off of the claim. That's clearly one of his top angles in here. Third start off, layoff for this horse. And as we talked about before, has some exceptional late pace in there, Charles. So look out at the end there. Number 7, Nelson Avenue. This guy's been off since January. Oof, long race time off there, Charles, as you mentioned. A lot of good workouts, though, in getting ready for this. In fact, on October the 4th, he ran 5 furlongs in 58 seconds. That's faster than some race times in there, Charles.
Yeah, like I've told you in the past, who knows what that means? Did he run off? Did the jockey lose control of him? Or did the trainer tell the jockey, go as fast as you can? if that's the fastest you can, then maybe you leave it all on the track. There's a lot of million reasons. That's why I don't like to put emphasis on the time itself.
Mm. Well, I'm just looking at that. Go, that's fast. Those in race numbers, and I read in I forget which book it was right now, but when horses do workouts that mirror like actual race times, especially if it's an improvement off of anything that they've done in an actual race, has a pretty high win rate. I think it's actually close to an alpha angle, which wins at about 15% or more. Anytime you can get over, for me, alpha angle is anything that wins over 12.5%. And the reasoning behind that is the average American race has 8 horses in it. So just from a probability standpoint, your horse has a 1 in 8 chance to win. That's 12.5% chance. So any angle that goes over 12.5% chance delivers some excess return, or in the stock market world, it's called alpha. Final race of the day, Charles, is the closing race, race number 8. Tell us all about it, my friend.
Well, 1 mile turf, maiden, hunt purse is 100,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward.
Pretty basic stuff there. A mile on the grass so far at Churchill Downs. They've run 9 races. Stalkers have done very well. One of those 9 went wire to wire, gate to wire, whatever you prefer. There's a very strong rail bias for Moose. Mo's a handful. Inside 3, get a little bit of an edge as well. 4 through 7, play fair. If you happen to wear an 8 or out, big time penalties out there, Charles. Of course, you'll see here, I went with an outside horse that's going to get penalized, anti-bias rich again. But it does look like there's plenty of opportunity. Every single horse in here, according to our simulations, has some chance to be on the lead. So it should be pretty hot early on.
It really should be. There is plenty of speed in here. But it's the 4 at 34% chance, and that's who I actually think is going to have the lead at the quarter pole. But you're right. There's plenty of other horses in here that could sit, do whatever, or might even take the lead. But I think the 4 is going to try to do its best to get that lead. Whenever it comes to simulation odds, we have the 4 itself. Look at that, 7-1. You got 15-1 morning line. Nice little overlay. We have the 10 at 3-1, and we have 15-1 morning line. So not too bad there.
Mm-hmm. So far, the 10 horse is the only one that's shown maybe the ability to get above a par score for this. And then look at that 6 horse, as one does, pretty robust in terms of its C-zone score. And right behind it, the favorite, Way Hill Road. Those two probably going to find a race shape that they're comfortable with. Look at this race, Charles. A lot of the horses are middle back. Well, you have 5 horses that showed they're interested in running. You had 5 horses that showed they're not interested in running, finishing way behind the winner at the finish line. The 2 and the 3 coming to the party for the first time. I would probably look middle forward in this scenario. These horses probably going to effort, maybe lose courage as the race goes on, as they've shown before. Early speed, if that's your thing, the closer, Charles. Left arrow horse, look out for Command de Oro, Command Gold. That one could get a little scary for the rest of them if it can get up front. Late speed, the stalker types. Mo's a handful, the 1 horse on the rail, which has an advantage, folks. That could be an advantage for that horse. And then finally, you have the very competitive race in here, except for maybe the 12 horse Egyptian King might be in way over its head. We don't know what the first time starters are going to bring, Charles, but you're about to tell us what you're going to bring.
Well, I mean, I like one of the first time starters. I mean, this whole race is kind of wide open. Once again, if you looked at my pick 4, I put 5 horses, and I really wish I could put all of them. The 2 is my top choice here. Very well bred. This horse has solid workout patterns. Trainer gets 11% when turf starts. You got James Graham on the board. So, this horse probably will release on this turf very well. And let's see what it can do.
That doesn't sound very good, Charles.
Not that either, but
it is a horse racing show, my friend.
Oh, okay, sorry. He will not just release; he will unrelease. Okay, sorry. Again, the 5 is my second choice, but look at the odds on this horse: 20-1. You're probably going to get that. They add
and the funny thing is, it's the only one we agree on.
They add the blinkers today. You got a hot jockey trainer in the last 14 days. Amos gets gets 18%, first time on route. There's a lot of things that this horse could improve off of. And with them all being young and, still maidens, well, they're almost not non-maidens anymore. They're probably going to be 4-year-old maidens soon, most of them. And then the 9 is my third choice here. This one has some tactical speed. Weaver gets 19% with 46 plus days of rest, drops in class. And then the 4 is my final choice, does have speed. I think this one will be out winging it. Third start after a layoff. This horse is bred to go all day long, so I'm not worried about the distance or anything like that. And you know what? I still had to leave out one other horse that's in my pick 4, which was the 11. This horse has a shot just as well as the others. It's just I think it's going to see a price in there somewhere.
Well, I have the 11 on the top, Wayhill Road. Going to drop in class into this race, Charles, and every single race that he's run so far would win this race. We'll see if it actually can return that. The only question is that post position does hurt. The 3 horse for me is my second choice, Nation. First timer with good breeding and some pretty good workouts, getting ready for today. The 5 horse, the one we both agree on, the only one we agree on at 20-1. It's going to drop in class here today. Going to stretch out for the first time for a route. So maybe this is a miler or so, not a sprinter. Could show some improvement in its 3rd career race. And if it does, it wouldn't be good enough to win at a price. And I'll probably regret not putting it in my pick 4 because it's always the next horse that beats me. And then finally, the first time, not the first time starter, Mo's a handful. I'm going to take a shot with the rail horse here. Trainer Neil Pessin, by far, by a long, long way, Charles, is best with horses coming back after a rest of 90 days or more. I do a try with the 3-11, with the 3-5-11 over the 1-3-4-5-11 to close it out for me, Mr. Charles. That wraps up our picks for the day. Christopher D'Souza really likes that one horse in there. Moose is a handful, too, off of that big angle for the trainer. See if indeed that works out with the 2 and the 10 in his exacta trifecta box. Here are our full picks for today, Charles. So far, the 8 horse got that first one. They had the 10, I think it was, the shot in the first race. So we're getting closer and closer to our top picks. Hopefully that's what we see for the remaining 6 races on this card. You and I will be back to do 10 races tomorrow at Keeneland at the same time. Charles, any thoughts of wisdom before we get back together again?
No, that's about it. Remember, Breeders' Cup's coming, and then I'm going to be at the sales. Anybody want to go to the sales? Thinking about buying now. The next sales are brood mares and weanlings, so it's stock like that. So there's a lot of great pinhook opportunities there. So anyway, that's coming up. If you have any questions on that, send me an email at bigcasinoracing@gmail.com.
BigCasinoRacing@gmail.com. Fantastic. Good luck to you guys as well, Christopher. We appreciate the kind words always. Appreciate you joining us every day. We know time is the most valuable commodity, and we appreciate you spending that time with us. Got a feeling we're going to have a pretty good night tonight at Remington Park. So head on over to Horse Guaranteed Tip Sheet. You'll see the link down in the description below. Get our picks over there today. Could be a good night of racing at Remington. Maybe fatten up your bankroll for the upcoming Breeders' Cup. Again, we'll have an announcement about that within the next 24 hours. Keep an eye on our social sites streaming below. All right, Charles, as always, my pleasure working with you on this hump day with charming Charles. We certainly hope that no matter what you're doing for the rest of this day, that you are filled with God's blessings, and every single thing that you do ends up in
the winner's circle.
Indeed. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Look forward to joining you again tomorrow.